That chap must have a very flat head, Aaron, to be able to balance that many pints.
Incredible, and the weight of it. However many pints it was.
We were saying everyone has a talent of sorts.
That one is not mine. I can't even hold a drink without spilling it.
Well, it's 1:10. You're with me, Emily Carver, and Miriam Kate. Now, the Prime Minister says he's cracking down on small boats crossings. He's been talking tough in Albania with his counterpart over there, talking about returns hubs, talking about offshore processing. Little loose on the detail at this stage. Apparently, very much talks are underway.
Well, our political editor, Chris Hope, did catch up with the Prime Minister in Albania and had this exclusive interview.
What now we want to do, and we're having discussions on, talks on, is return hubs, which is where someone's been through the system in the UK, they need to be returned, and we have to make sure they're returned effectively, and we'll do that if we can through return hubs. So that's what the talk's about. I would say in this area, no single measure is going to be the measure that is, if you like, a silver bullet. By putting it all together, arrests, seizures, agreements with other countries, returning people who shouldn't be here, and return hubs, if we can, through these talks, to add to our armoury, will allow us to bear down on this vile trade and to make sure that we stop those people crossing the channel.
OK, so there's Keir Starmer talking about return hubs, potentially. In response, Shadow Home Secretary Chris Philp says they won't work and the Prime Minister is conning the British public.
The last government did take action, for example, returns agreements with countries like Albania. So in 2023, our last full year in office, the number of illegal immigrants crossing the Channel actually went down by 1/3. But because Keir Starmer cancelled the Rwanda deterrent before it even started, on his watch numbers are up by 30%, and this year so far, 2025, has been the worst year in history for illegal immigrants crossing the Channel, because most illegal immigrants crossing the Channel are from nationalities where they will get their asylum claim granted, because the laws are so soft. We think they need to be tougher, so they're never going to end up in these return hubs. So it simply won't work. It is a con on the British public for Keir Starmer to claim these return hubs will have any practical effect.
Well, that was Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, and we're now joined by the Labour peer, Lord Steve McCabe. Lord McCabe, thank you for joining us this afternoon. Now, you will have just heard the words there of Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, saying that very few people are going to end up in Albania under this proposed agreement because our asylum grant rate is just so high in this country that so few actually fail that process. What do you say to that?
Well, I thought that was a kind of strange comment. If he's saying that these people are legitimate refugees who pass the asylum test, then of course they're going to be accepted in this country. But what we're interested in are people who fail the asylum test and who should be returned, but where there are difficulties in returning them to their country of origin.
Lord McCabe, sorry to interrupt, but he is saying that he thinks those rules are too lax, doesn't he? He thinks they're too gentle when it comes to asylum. So he's saying that too many people are going to be granted asylum in this country. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think there has to be a fair and international asylum test, and I thought that's how Britain normally applied their asylum rules. If he's suggesting we should create a whole new set of rules for asylum, I'd like to know what he has in mind.
Well, I think his point is probably, and not to put words into his mouth, that the UK's asylum grant rate is far, far higher than many comparable countries, France, Germany, Denmark, for example. So, I mean, Keir Starmer's right. There is no one solution to this problem, but one of the solutions surely has to be to look again at our asylum requirements and why our grant rate is so much higher than comparable countries.
Well, of course, one of the things that the Labour government are trying to do is to speed up the processing of asylum claims. That's a way of actually weeding out failed claims much faster. One of the problems in the past is that the lengthy period in actually getting round to processing the claims has given people additional reasons to remain here, like, for example, starting a family.
But is that not because the previous government put into law that if you arrived in this country illegally, for example, via small boat, that you would never be granted asylum, regardless of whatever country you'd be in, and then you'd be sent to Rwanda instead, whereas this government has decided that that should not be the law, and that if you arrive in this country, you have your case can be processed regardless of how you entered?
Well, I think the absurdity of that position is if you're genuinely fleeing a a terror regime who are threatening to kill you because of your religious or political beliefs or whatever, you're hardly likely to arrive with legal documents and papers. They don't sort of line you up and say you're welcome to leave, here's your visa to depart. So of course all people who are coming here are without, or the vast majority coming here are without proper documentation. The thing to determine is who is a legitimate asylum claimant and who is not, and the quicker we do that, the better. And then for
You're not saying, Lord McCabe, that they should, that perhaps if you're crossing multiple countries, multiple safe countries, that perhaps you're no longer fleeing for your life, or would you not agree with that?
Well, it depends why you're crossing multiple spaces. If, for example, it's an attempt to
camisa surrada, mais cheirosa. O carro é velho, mas roda de boa. Festa na laje, churrasco de asa. Ouvindo um modão sem gastar uma grana. Nós é just no right. Let's take this up the world. Oh yeah. You get that place in all the light. Don't treat it dim and dim, darling. I'll still not will not post all nights. I feel so alone in the dark. I still wait all the world. From love and stars to change. Out the road. Love cannot be mine. Cannot escape. So will the soul get when the day breathes again. There's a will if there's hope. It's love what's all done. Now on the road, up in the shadow. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Then said oasis can we glow. Love back and faces can we